Hey, what's going on, guys? Kings here, and in this video we're going to be generating castling moves for both sides, like white kings and for black kings. So the very first thing we need to consider, we need actually to find the appropriate indentation to kickstart with our castling code. So here where we just try to figure out whether the sided move is wide or not, and here where we trying to reference the piece. So if I just scroll down and right over in here I need to provide the castling moves. So here the very first thing to consider is actually to ask whether the current given piece is actually equal to the white king. So uppercase K stands for white king, and in this case we would be having up to two conditions. So the first condition is known as the king side castling is available, and the second condition we have the queen side castling available. So in order to distinguish between these two, we can simply make use of our castle bit flags that we've been implementing a long time ago in this series. So here if we have a look at the castle bits, oh my god, where are my castle bits? Okay. I'm just wondering, where are my castling bits? Okay. Oh, here they are. Oh my god, here they are basically. So yeah, we have this. The first bit is set if white king can castle king side. The second bit is set, like not the second, but the bit that works of two is set where the white can castle queen side. Here black can castle king side, and here black can castle queen side. So we would be referencing exactly these constants in order to make sure that king, that the given king actually has the rights to castle in a particular site. Yeah, but first I just need to find my castling code eventually one day. Okay, so if we just take our castle variable, which represents the current board castling state that we're printing when we're printing the chessboard as well, and if we simply bitwise AND this with the white castle's king side. So this is the very first condition to consider, and the second condition to consider, I just can say if and castle bitwise ANDed with white castling queen side. So this is the second condition. And now here the very first thing to consider, we need to make 100% sure that there are no pieces standing between the rook and the king. So, well, probably let me better to just try to open the terminal in the current working directory, and by typing make debug, trying to compile the source, and if it compiles, run the binary executable called bbc. And I just want to show you this on the chessboard. So if we're trying to generate a moves for, say, white king is intended to castle queen side or queen side, we need to make sure that these squares and these squares are empty. So this is the very first condition. So make sure squares between king and the rook, I mean a king and king side, and let's say just and king's rook are empty. So this is the first condition to consider. So we can simply say if and not get bit, which means that the get bit is not going to be returning true, so it's returning false. And now we need to specify the particular squares. So this would be the squares of F1 and of G1, and the particular bitboard that we're supposed to be referencing in this case would be the occupancies the occupancy bitboard for all the pieces, regardless whether they are white or black. So we can simply say occupancies and both, and the square to reference. So here we'll have G1. Okay, let me just check this. Yeah, F1 and G1. So F1, and also make sure that actually the G1 square is also available, is also empty. Okay, and another thing to consider, we need to make sure that the square that kin is stepping over, so F square in this case, so it's not gonna get be under the check, so it's not attacked. So let's say there is no this bishop on E2 and this bishop eyeing the F1 square. In this case, we can't really generate a castling move for the white king. Also, let me actually get rid of this pawn to make the position looks like the initial tricky position, because otherwise it stops making any sense at all, because we can't castle actually. So let's have this normal a normal tricky position. So in this case, if we don't have this bishop, then this F1 square is attacked by white by the black bishop. That's the reason why we can't really castle queenside. And also, if king would be in check at this moment, it won't be able to castle as well. So we need to check up to 2 squares. So the square of E1 and F1. And now you might wonder, if king castles and it would find itself within the check, what's gonna happen then? And for this case, I will answer that it would already be the matter of the make move function. So every time we would be making a move, in order to answer the question whether the move is legal or not, we would be making a test like, is the king square has been attacked where the king outside the move is actually available. So if it is that, and if the move doesn't take the king away from check, that means that move is illegal, and we would be dropping that move, dropping all of those moves. So what we need is actually to check that is square attacked is equal to false to the E1 square and to the F1 square. So now let's go and implement this basically. So now make sure king and the next square are not and next to castling, and well, let's say, and in case of queenside castling, kingside castling, and the let's make a constant, and F1 square, let's make sure a king and the F1 squares are not under attack. Okay, so if not is square attacked, and I just forgot how exactly to bring this the order of is square attack argument. So square, and then it goes the side. Okay, so square, and in this case E1, and is not attacked by black respectively, and also not is square attacked, and the G1 square is not attacked by black, because we're generating castling moves for white kings. And in this case, we can actually print our move. First print our move, and then obviously we would be adding this move into a move list, making sure to enable the castling flag, by the way. So let's say castling move, and here, not the source square, not the target square, but source square would always be, well, actually, we don't even need all this stuff here. We don't really need this. We just can hard code this instead. So this would be E1 to G1, and that's it. Okay, the only thing I missed here, for some reason, why did I use G1? I mean F1 obviously, because G1 is where it lands, but we need to make sure that F1 is not under attack. I don't know why did I put G1 here, obviously F1 here. Okay, and already it should actually be generating some kingside castling moves. So we got this E1 goes to G1, and let's first actually implement the queenside castling as well, and then we will go for some tests to either put some pieces in between or trying to get some squares attacked to make sure that king is not capable of castling to the some sort of to the appropriate side, assuming that the square he needs to step through is under attack, or the king is under attack itself. And also we'll test this castling rights, so I would be manually changing them to make sure that if there are no appropriate castling rights, king can actually castle to one or another side. But first, yeah, let's actually get done with our implementation. So I will now just reuse this code with some sort of a difference. So we need to get the occupancies for the following squares for D1, C1 and B1. So we need the occupancy for D1, for C1, and also one for a B1, like this. Okay, and the same, we need to make sure that E1 or king is not exposed into a check, and also that D1, the square it stepped through on the way to the castling, so make sure that D1 is not being exposed into an attack as well. And in this case we print E1 to C1, right? It lands on C. Okay. Well, okay, so seems like it's working okay. So yeah, now we got these two castling moves, so E1 to G1 and E1 goes to C1, so literally castling moves. So now let's go for our tests, and the very first thing to consider, so assuming that white are about to move here, let's actually drop the kingside castling. And now it only can castle like E1 to C1, only queenside, because we just dropped this castling right of white queen, allowing him to castle kingside. Now we drop another opportunity for him, so it can castle either ways now. So it might mean like a king has already moved, or both rooks has already moved, things like that. But again, like this sort of stuff would be the matter of the make move function to update the castling right. So if the king would move ever, or if the rooks would move, this would update the castling rights of the board state, just like we did, just like we already did in our hexadecimal 88 move generator before. So now let me just bring back only the kingside castling, so it now should castle only kingside. Yes, E1 to G1, and let's bring it back this queenside castling. Okay, now let's go for some tests with putting the pieces in between here. So let's say the color doesn't really matter that much, but I just want to be using white pieces. But again, like if they were black, doesn't matter really. So let's put a knight, and he can now castle kingside, queenside, because there is a knight. Oh, actually I put a black knight. Well, I just want to put a white knight, but again, it doesn't really matter that much, obviously. And so only can castle kingside. And now let's try to put a knight here on C1. Still can castle, and now let's try to put the knight near the king, and still can castle. And now we drop the knight and put this like knight 1 from the other side. So now it can go to c1. Okay, it should have been able to go to g1. Yeah. So now it can castle queenside to castle to c1, but no longer to queenside. Okay, and let's finally put this knight to its initial square, actually, like this. And again, we can only castle to queenside. Okay, so this is it regarding the so 2 squares. This is it regarding occupancy. So occupancy works quite pretty nicely, and now we need to make sure if the square is attacked, if either king or nearby squares are attacked, we're not able to castle. So the very first brutal way of testing this would be to replace this pawn with, say, black rook. Okay, so in this case, oh, sorry, I've replaced the wrong pawn. Sorry for this. I mean the bishop. Yeah, this one. Just hold on a sec. Rook. And yeah, so now it seems like it actually can castle to the. It seems like it can castle kingside, but again, after doing this, this king would find himself within the check, and this move would be. Would give a cutoff within the make move function, because it would evaluate king under the check after the move being made. Hence, this move is illegal, so that move is never gonna be made on board. But here you see, like the king has already been exposed into a check, and that's the reason why we can castle either kingside or queenside. And now another test. So let's actually take this rook completely away and just make an empty space there. So now we can only castle to the queen side, because this bishop on a6 in f1, so this f1 is under attack. That's the reason why we can't really castle to the king side, but we still can castle here. But if we just replace this white queen with a black queen brutally like this, then in this case it won't be able to castle queenside as well. So I hope this is quite pretty clear at the moment, and now let me just restore this tricky FEN position and get back to right in castling move generation logic for black pieces. So okay, and I will now just change the side to black. Okay, so and now we'll go for generating our castling moves for black king. So I need simply to grab this entire code here, copy, and just pick up the right indentation, otherwise it won't work really. So castling moves, okay, kingside castling is available, but in this case we need to make sure that we're using the black kingside castling constants. Okay, and so let's go step by step here. So if piece is equal to black king, okay, kingside castling is available. Make sure the squares between king and king's rook are not available. Oh yeah, by the way, I just need to alter the commentaries a little bit, but first let me get done with the code. So bitwise end with a black castle's king side. Make sure square between king and king's rook are empty, and now we need to search this for f8 and g8 respectively. So not the first rank but the 8th rank as well. And now squares e8 and attacked by white, and also square f8 and attacked by white. Okay, and also here e8 to g8. Okay, and here black can castle queenside constant. Make sure between kings and queens rook are empty. Get occupancies for d8, for c8, and for b8. And now is square attacked e8 by white pieces and d8 by white pieces, and e8 goes to c8. Okay, perfect. So let me just make sure kings and f8 squares are not under attack. Well, actually, yeah, not exactly. So I need, yeah, I will now go for. Well, let me first actually try to test the code, and if it works, I will then go to altering these commentaries, because yeah, they really not that correct here. So yeah, let's go for testing this code first. So by default we have e8 to g8, e8 to c8 castling moves for black king. Perfect. So now let's try to drop kingside castling opportunity for black king. Okay, so kingside is not, castling is not available. Yeah, it only can castle queenside, so e8 to c8, which is correct. Okay, and now let's drop another one. Okay, so now it can castle either side. So let's put him back again. Okay, so now let's play around with the occupancies. So let's put a knight in between here, so it should only be able castling kingside, e8 to g8. Okay, same in this position. Okay, only kingside. Okay, still here. Okay, same. And now let's test one knight, so only queenside. Okay, and knight 1 and e8 to c8. Yeah, only queenside. And the very last thing left here is actually to test with oh my god, where the rook has gone. Oh, obviously 2 squares here. Sorry for this. Okay, so now let's check the attacks. So if I just try to put the queen here, try to put the white queen instead, it shouldn't be able to castle either side, because king is under attack, and also even this squares are under attack as well. Okay, so let's drop it back, and I'm just thinking what in particular square. So well, let's try to put a rook here, and here. No, here it doesn't matter. So here and here, try to put a rook to make sure it won't get castled. Okay, so let's put white rook, so it now only should castle to queenside. Okay, yeah, only castling queenside because this square is attacked. And let's put the rook here as well. Okay, now can only castle kingside. Obviously, if we put a rook here, it would generate a castling move, but again, this would be the matter of the make move function to avoid those moves where a king has been exposed into a check and nothing is done with that. Well, okay guys, so yeah, I guess this is it really. So let me just restore this tricky position for the next part, and then I will go fixing the commentaries, so to make sure that the commentaries are correct all along the way. So yeah, here starting with the white pieces. So castling moves, kingside castling is available. Make sure square between king and king's rook are empty. Yes. Make sure king and the f1 squares are not under attack. Yes. Okay. Queenside castling is available. Make sure between king and queens rook are empty. So d1, c1, b1. Okay. b1 there. Okay. Make sure the king and not the f1 but the d1 square in this case are not under attacks. We could have say like nearby squares, but just to make it a little bit more particular, a little bit more concrete. Okay, so seems like it's just fine. And now let's go to castling for black king castling. So piece is a black king. Kingside castling is available. Make sure square between king and king's rook are empty. So f8 and g8 are empty. Okay, make sure king and not the f1 square but king and f8 square are not under attacks. Queenside castling is available. Make sure square between king and queen's rook are empty. Okay, make sure king and the d8 square are not under attacks. Yeah, okay guys, so now this really seems to be it regarding generating the castling moves. And the next video we're gonna be generating moves for all the other pieces, and the code would be literally like the same, almost the same. Well, it would be slightly different for sliding pieces because there are some additional routines to reference the attack tables from the slider piece, from the pre-calculated attack tables for sliding pieces. But in general, code would be quite pretty the same, and I hope to cover all the pieces in one video, and hopefully it would be even shorter compared to say this video or the previous regarding generating quiet homos and pawn captures. Well, this is it from my side, guys. I wish you all the best. Hope to see you in the next video. Until then, and take care.